IBD and mental health challenges. Her name is Michelle Hobson, and she's opening up about what it's like to fight battles the world can't see with Drive's Jess Norton.
I have inflammatory bowel disease, so Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. Mine is ulcerative colitis. So you can't see that, but it actually impacts every part of my life every single day. But unfortunately, sometimes you wish it did come up and you had a big rash on your arm, or you had, big bruises on your face or something, so people could actually see the pain you're in. But unfortunately, you do have to try and explain it to people, and they might not quite understand because you can look absolutely fine from the outside.
Well, what are some of the challenges then living with IBD?
Oh, where do I even start?
Because this has really become, I don't want to say taken over your life, but you've been able to flip the script here on this as well, and trying to promote awareness about it.
Yeah, so it begins with the glares, I suppose, walking out of a disabled toilet in the car, in a shopping centre. It could be parking in a disabled spot and people going, hey, what are you doing there? And you have to stand there and say, hey, look, I actually have this condition, which this happens, and you're over-explaining yourself to every person. And it gets really challenging because nobody questions a physical disability that you can see. You go, oh, give them space, they need extra support. But because you can't see it, you have to then convince people and over-explain your personal life just to appease others. So it does get really challenging, especially, there's judgment surrounding it, misunderstandings. Like if you put on makeup, if you put on a dress, suddenly you're not sick anymore. Suddenly you're all better, and people only check in when you're in a hospital bed, but really that's a critical state that you're in. You'd like people to check in those in-between days as well.
So does that then lead to another invisible disability or another invisible illness? It must weigh on your mental health in a way.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest challenges, especially with inflammatory bowel disease. 70% of us have mental health challenges, either because of the diagnosis, because of the symptoms, or the care afterwards. We just don't have it.
How do you handle those misconceptions then, I suppose, Michelle? It mustn't, this must be something that you experience quite frequently. How do you handle that?
It is really challenging. It does. Sometimes I think I don't handle it, to be honest. I sit at home and go, I feel people think I'm just out doing this because I do raise awareness. I do get up there. I do talk about it. I've had to post my hospital records online to prove that I'm not a Belle Gibson, because you can't see it. People question when you start to make noise. They want to have confirmation. And that's for me where I go, well, would you want me in a wheelchair? Would you want me to have, no limbs so you believed me? But instead I've had to post my personal details that, show all of my hospital admissions, all of the details, from hemorrhoids and rectal bleeding. And I'm like a 31-year-old girl. I don't want people to know that about me, but I have to prove my disability, that's got to change.
How do we do that? How do we stop people from even questioning from you parking in the parking space or coming out of the toilet or asking for your records? What do we need to do to stop that, do you think, Michelle?
I think awareness weeks like Invisible Disability Week really does help, and I think bringing light to these weeks are really important. I think workplace education is a really great place to start, simply being most people have jobs and we go to work, and if we have education sprinkled throughout, then we take that into society as well. So what we've learnt there from maybe including our colleagues, we then take into including the girl walking out of the disabled toilet.
We've spoken a lot about the challenges, but with living with IBD, how has that experience, I suppose, changed your outlook on your life? Are there any, not benefits, but are there any positives that you've seen through your experience?
Absolutely. Oh, I weirdly probably wouldn't change it. I think I have created a community and I've made new friends. I have learnt things in life that I'm not sure other people may ever experience. I take myself back 2 years ago when I was in hospital laying there. I didn't really have many friends. My family relationships weren't, as strong as maybe other families were. And it really made me go, wow, I'm a disposable human. I know that sounds quite dark. And in that time, it was quite dark. But it made me go, wow, cars don't matter, houses don't matter, your bank account doesn't matter. What matters is who's around you and what type of person you are and who you want to be. And that was a huge pivotal moment. And if I didn't have that experience, I'm not sure if everything else that I've done since then would have actually happened.
Where do you find your strength, Michelle? Because it's just oozing out of you as we speak.
Thank you. For me, it's a bit of taking back control. I was very ashamed for a very, very long time, in ways where I've almost lost my life and quality of life because of what this disease was taking from me. And I think knowing that other people could be having that experience, I go, no, like if you take back that control and you can talk about it. If someone thinks it's embarrassing, that's on them. If you open that conversation, you're going to be so surprised that people might, like in my terms, my neighbor has something similar, or my friend, or my auntie or uncle, and then all of a sudden you've made a connection and you've related to someone. You don't feel like an actual alien, because that's how you feel when you don't have anyone around you that understands.
The more conversations, the more barriers we break down, the more stigma that gets, completely wiped away. Anyone listening to this in the midst of Invisible Disability Week, what would be your message to them hearing your story?
I think invisible illnesses, they don't need to be seen. We don't need them to be seen at all. They just need to be respected. And the way to get them respected is to talk about it like you're talking about your grocery list. And you go, you know what, this is who I am, this is what I have. And if people have to question that, that's on them. You don't owe anybody an explanation of your own body or your own experience. And if you're someone that questions people, just stop. It's none of your business.
That's Townsville woman Michelle Hobson sharing her experience of living with an invisible disability with Jess Norton. And you can hear more about Michelle's journey by visiting ibdhub.com.au. So ibdhub.com.au.